Hello everybody and welcome to another Twilight Zone retro review. Today it is Season 1 Episode 17, The Fever, written by Rod Serling and starring Everett Sloane as Franklin Gibbs. This episode, oh boy. Okay, so let me just say before I start recapping this episode that some episodes aren't necessarily great, but they're memorable. To me, this episode is a perfect case of that. It's not really a very good episode, but there's something about it that you remember. So, this episode's very different than anything else we've had in Twilight Zone so far, that's for sure. What happens is a husband, that's Franklin, and his wife win a Las Vegas trip. Actually, she wins it. And you can tell right away that Franklin doesn't want to be there. He's very crabby. He's not really into it. And his wife is excited about it. He talks about how gambling is immoral and a waste of time and all these things. Meanwhile, you can see his wife really wants to play. And as she's about to put money in, he tries to stop her. He tells her it's one thing if they go on a free trip, but to start putting wasted money into it is another thing. And he tells her not to play, but her nickel's already in, so she plays. She doesn't win. So at this point, she's going to go back up to the room. He's going to join her, but there's this drunk guy, and this is one of the worst drunk guys in history for sure. He kind of forces Franklin into playing, and Franklin actually wins as the guy leaves. So next we cut away to where Franklin is talking about how, I only won because I kind of, because I wasn't even really trying to win. We're going to save this money. This is what smart people do. They invest money. They don't throw it away at these things. But then he starts hearing his name. And this is just hilarious. He starts hearing Franklin. I can't do the voice that great, but it's pretty bad and pretty hilarious as well. So he's back up in the room and he keeps hearing this Franklin. So he tells his wife that they can't keep this money because it's tainted, and he's going to go put it back in the machine, and that'll be that. Well, then pretty much the rest of the episode is spent with him playing and getting more and more frustrated. And he tells his wife, who really becomes annoying at this part, come on, Rod Serling, can't you write better wife characters? This woman just becomes pretty much has no purpose the rest of the episode other than to be concerned about him and tell him to stop. Really not a good character. But anyway, the main thing is that Franklin just keeps playing. He says the machine teases him, it mocks him, it lets him win a little bit and then takes it back plus more. He apparently has been playing for hours and hours. He plays all night long. He spends a lot of money. And when he's down to his last silver dollar, as he says, the machine doesn't work. He puts the money in, he goes to pull the handle, and the machine gets stuck. At this point, he goes completely nuts and pretty much attacks the machine. He throws it down, runs up to it, and yells at it. He says it's possessed and it broke down on purpose to taunt him. So then basically he's taken out of there by some people in the casino, and when him and his wife are back up in their room, he tells her that it deliberately broke down knowing it was going to pay off, and because it didn't want to pay him, it didn't work. Well, what happens from here really has to be seen to be believed. There's no description to describe this. Not only is he hearing the voices, he now actually sees the slot machine with a mouth, and I think what's supposed to be an eye, and it's flashing, and the machine is not only chanting his name, it's actually coming after him. He says the machine isn't going to stop till it gets him, or something along those lines. And basically he's so freaked by it, and this whole time his wife is doing nothing other than looking concerned. I don't know why she's not trying to do something. But anyway, he basically is so shocked that he steps back, falls out the window, and that is the end of Mr. Franklin Gibbs. And the wife screams. We see him on the street. They talk about how some people really get hooked on this kind of thing, but they've never seen anybody get hooked as much as this guy. So Franklin's lying there dead on the ground, and all of a sudden that good old silver dollar comes rolling back to Franklin, and we see the slot machine standing there. So he did get his dollar back in the end, you know. Now, I think what we're supposed to get from this, other than the obvious lesson that too much gambling can be a bad thing, you know, don't get hooked on it, it can ruin you. I get the message. It's way, way over the top here. I don't know if it worked better in its time period, but it just comes across as silly. I mean, we get it, it's a good message, but we don't need to be hit over the head this much. I mean, this episode's pretty padded, not much happens the second half, but I gotta say that watching Franklin go nuts and think he's hearing the slot machine is pretty entertaining in a silly kind of way. Maybe it's just me, I don't know. But I think we're supposed to think that this whole thing, that only he's seeing the slot machine because his wife doesn't seem to see it. But come on, some of us know better. The slot machine was really alive, wasn't it? No. I doubt it, but hey, it's the Twilight Zone, you know. Who really knows? This episode technically isn't very good. The writing is only okay. It's very one note. It seems padded even at, you know, 25 minutes or whatever it is. But I always remember this episode for the Franklin chanting and just seeing them attempt to make this slot machine come alive. And the ending is classic with the coin rolling back to him. So this is a case where, to me, an episode is memorable, even if it isn't great. But I still can't rate it real high. But I'm not going to kill it because when I go back and rewatch it, I get a kick out of it. You know, I can watch it pretty easily without too much trouble. So I give The Fever a 2.5 out of 5. Maybe I'm being too nice, but I'm going to stick with it. 2.5 out of 5. Thanks for watching.